Hello, another week on the run this week. It's only going to be a 4-day week because yesterday was like end of May bank holiday. Yeah, it's the 1st of June today, Tuesday 1st of June, week commencing 1st of June 2021 of course. Yeah, so as ever, quickly do my fuel prices. Got my little book. Keep my records in for the week. Yeah, so the UK Fuels one, which is a Shell card through UK Fuels, that's 103.26. And the BWOC or Block card, that's 102.16, which is the cheaper one. It's usually the cheapest and not quite as easy to use as a Shell one. In terms of finding somewhere I can use it. But that's 102.16, which with the VAT is 122.59, or call it 122.6, which is still pretty good compared to what I'm seeing at the pumps. It's cheaper than most supermarket fuel, if not all, to be honest. So yeah, I'm getting branded fuel. Yeah, so this morning I started looking about 8:45 for a job, which isn't too bad for me on the first day of the week when I'm at home. Didn't get my first job until 10:15, so I've got an hour and a half of looking. In that time, I did actually have a phone call off the shipper, who's on WhatsApp group I'm on, which I mentioned a fair bit recently. Then I've done a few more jobs for them recently, and I know I have done really ever this kind of work. Obviously, I did do the government food delivery multi drops for them for like 6 weeks last summer, where I was working for them full time Monday to Friday for like 6 weeks, but just doing the odd ad hoc job with them, like haulage since. And they actually put a job on their group, which was some Redditch long wheelbase 2 drops in Birmingham, but they never say the price really. And I find in the mornings I need to get my bigger job in to get away from here. Being in the Midlands, can't really get too big a job in, particularly from going north. But if I'm going to South Coast, I can still do maybe a 150 job, 150 quid. I try and do at least 100 on the first job, or from going somewhere good, maybe a bit less. Yeah, and that job was on there. I think they were struggling. Nobody replied to it. I didn't see it get put on the CX, but then she rang me because she obviously saw on the CX that I was available, to ask me if I was actually available and basically try and get me to do the job. But it just wasn't going to work out for me because I checked it. I'm like over 30 miles from Redditch, Walsall, South Walsall. By the time I got there, it just wouldn't stack up. And like I say, I need to get my bigger earning job. I think I might have paid like 65, 70 quid for the job. But yeah, it's just, so I just had to politely decline. So even if you do, in my view, even if you do get in with a shipper and doing a bit more regular work for them, they're still a shipper. You know, it's not like an end customer where you're getting good rate. So if a job doesn't stack up for me, I'll just politely decline. So she was alright about it, but kind of feel kind of bad. Like, I think she, really struggling to get it covered. But at the end of the day, I've got to earn a living. So anyway, that was that job, which I didn't do. Picked up a job 10:30. It was picking up sort of between Lichfield and Burton, which is like 26 miles from me. But I quite often find I get jobs from there from when I'm at home. It's quite a long way to get there because it's a bit sort of out of the Birmingham, loads of vans area. There's not much people up there going for the jobs. So anyway, I got that. That was 95 quid for 87 miles loaded to Manchester, sort of like northwest Manchester. Picking up 2 pallets of totes. I had no idea what a tote was, but this is what a tote looks like apparently. Yeah, so learned something today. Learned what a tote is. Them plastic little things with like floppy lids on. Anyway, yeah, 2 pallets of them from a big RDC distribution centre. Which is a bit of a pain. It took me about 40 minutes to get loaded. But then I was there a bit earlier in the time slot, so I can't really complain about that. Got tipped some, well, it wasn't an RDC, it was like a big warehousey place, and they were like 5 minutes, so yeah, it wasn't too bad all in. then within half an hour I got a job. This is a short wheelbase job, but it's picking up this afternoon, which I've done, and dropping in the morning down in Dunstable, which is sort of like Luton Way. I think it's Peter Courier driver kind of country. Yeah, so I've got it on board. That's empty there. 2 boxes, no weight to them really. The big one's a little bit heavy, but I'm going to put them in the house tonight. So I've got to be there at 8 in the morning, so that'll count as today's job. And I'm going to get to spend the night at home tonight and have a home cooked meal, so that's a bonus. Yeah, and another bonus is, actually feels like summer's here today. Look, I've even got my shorts on. Get the old pins out. Generally I find like as long as shorts are fine with most places, you see a lot of delivery guys wearing shorts. You do see it on a job note sometimes, like must have trousers and stuff, so I always carry trousers with me when I'm wearing shorts, just in case you turn up to one job and are funny about it. But you know, it's when it gets warm, being in shorts for me is a lot more comfortable. Kind of regretting not getting air conditioning on this van. Would have been an extra 700 quid for like the next spec up. It probably would have been better when it comes to sell the van. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's going to be a bit sticky in the summer. Yeah, so that's the day so far, and into tomorrow. Reasonable start to the week, just like over 240 I think for the day, which is not bad for a Monday, Tuesday, or first day of the week. But anyway, that's it so far. Right, just a quick update. So it's the Wednesday morning now, about 20 to 9. I've just done that drop which I mentioned yesterday, the one I had on board overnight. Yeah, so drove down to home, Walsall last night. Bit of traffic on the M6, so I'd kind of cut off route through Staffordshire countryside a bit and get on, I think, sort of Stafford way, back on. Which is a bit of a pain because it's added more miles to a journey, and it was only paying 85 pence a mile, all miles already, loaded down and loaded. So probably didn't work out great, that job, for pence per mile, but it was only a short wheelbase. It was like 147 pounds for 160 loaded miles, but 15 miles or something to get there. And then the route down took a bit longer because of the diversion or traffic. Anyway, yeah, so I stopped at home last night. Actually, the boxes weren't that heavy, so I took them in the house for safekeeping. Planned to leave this morning about 6:15, but actually woke up a bit early, so got going by 6, which gave me a good run down. It was a good run down here, so I had time to stop in the services just before coming off the M1 and get myself a coffee. Yeah, and the tip was real straightforward. I'm not sure if I said it was picking up from some company that makes sort of attachments and tools for utilities sort of companies, and it was delivering this thing. It was just all 2 boxes to one of these tool hire places, the green one. Yeah, so that was a real straightforward tip, 5-minute job. So like, yeah, I was there a bit early, so I was tipped by 8. And then as I was just going through uploading the invoice and stuff on a CX, the phone rings, and I'm thinking, who's that? I think I haven't bid on any other jobs this morning. Maybe it's somebody who's, trying to, ring up, see if I'm available to do a job. But no, it was actually somebody I bid on a job last night, because I tipped an LU5 and I changed my home location yesterday before we started heading down to Dunstable. So I was getting notifications last night for jobs down here in the morning, and the job pinged up down here, LU5, which is where I just tipped, 9 o'clock. So I thought, well, if I'm tipping at 8, 9 should be fine. Same postcode, same basic postcode. Yeah, but I didn't hear from them last night before I went to bed, so I kind of assumed I didn't get it. But then it was this job, and he got the job. So the only thing is, it's to Uckfield, which is in sort of, I don't know if that's Kent, I don't think it is, but it's sort of halfway between the M25 and Eastbourne
It's a bit in the middle of nowhere. I've tipped there before and done alright. I've delivered, picked up from there before. It's a little, like, for a small town, it's got quite a big industrial estate. And I always find that area, particularly like when I'm really flexible, like normally Monday to Thursday, as long as you're flexible where you're going, you know, you can just, there's not much competition down there to get jobs, so I should be okay, hopefully. There's always a bit of a shot in the dark, but yes, that's 94 miles loaded. I went in at 94 quid, got it. It's just over 2 miles to the pickup, which I better get to now, but can't pick up till 9 apparently. Yeah, so that's the start of the things. That's a positive start to today, and it's another belter of a day. Shorts on, pins out. Need to get a tan. I've gone really pale over the winter. Yeah, liking this weather. Right, Wednesday night now, and I am in. Yeah, I'm in Leyland. I just thought to take a photo of that. Quite a cool little statue-y thing, especially the pouring the metal thing. I thought it was pretty cool. So Leyland, what do I know about Leyland? I think Leyland is famous for Leyland trucks. It's kind of still going, but kind of aren't as well, because I think it was Leyland trucks joined up together with DAF, didn't they, to make Leyland DAF, or they were bought out by DAF, I'm not quite sure. So the big trucks, well, they all are really still called DAFs, aren't they? But I think up here they still make some of them. I think they make the smaller one up here, the LF. You quite often see like rows of cabs on the back of flatbed trailers, particularly up north. And I think they're made to go up here or made somewhere else. And I've checked on Google Maps, there's still a Leyland factory here, a Leyland DAF. I might just say DAF, I'm not sure. And the test track is just here. And I just delivered this evening to like another sort of vehicle manufacturer right next to the test track. Anyway, but how did I get here? So I picked up that job this morning, the one I was like 2 miles down the road from the last tip, and I turned up and there was 6 vans in front of me, 1 van behind. It was like a distribution depot for some transport-y company, logistics-y type place, you know, like Arctics on bays and all sorts. Not the biggest I've been to by any means, but I've kind of saw that amount of vans and I thought, I might be here a while. I was there for like 40 minutes in the end, but turns out there was only three vans going to the tip I was going to in Uckfield. There's 2 of us, including myself, that were taking 2 pallets, supposed to take 2 pallets, and then there was another guy in Luton who was taking 1 pallet, but that pallet was ADR, so this chap was ADR. And he'd also chucked some other like drums of stuff on his pallet, which apparently push him overweight, and it wasn't ADR, so he asked us if we could take it. So I ended up, the other 2 vans, me and this other chap, took 2 pallets and then 3 25-litre drums of some non-ADR something. A quick look at it. It's a thing, like he knew exactly what to look out for. He's like looking at the label saying, oh yeah, it hasn't got this number and that kind of stuff, it's not going to be ADR stuff. And it's kind of thing I said to him, ADR is one of the things you kind of, if you've got it, you know what to look for. And if you're not ADR, you don't really know what to look for. And I've said it before, and I need to get on it, really. I need to pull my finger out. I need to research, just do some basic research of what ADR is, just so I don't end up doing it unwittingly. Yeah, so that's still on my to-do list. Anyway, got loaded in the end. Not the best drive around the M25, and then onto the A22. Quite a nice drive down the A22. Quite a nice road out. You don't really see many views, but you cut through a lot of nice like woodland, and it's, you know, natural woodland, not like forest or whatever, and it's quite nice. Anyway, got there, got it tipped in Uckfield. It was like a 5-minute tip the other side, so 45 minutes for both loading and unloading in the end, so it worked out fine. Pulled up round the corner, checked the feed before. I was pretty hungry by that point because I didn't have a breakfast at like 5:30 and it was midday, or just after midday. yeah, and I thought I'd check the feed just before I have my lunch. Another Morrison's meal deal. And there was a few jobs in there, but there was one job from, I forget where it was, it's another 12 miles further down the A22 towards Eastbourne, going all the way to Leyland, that's where I am now. But it was a small van job, but I thought it's worth putting a quote in because there's not many vans around here. It's one of the big nationals. Well, I say it is because I'd say these are probably my favourite shipper, and actually a big national. They actually, a lot of big companies get a lot of stick for not looking after people and that kind of thing, but I find Speedy Freight are really good because they generally pay all right, and the payment process is one of the simplest. As long as you upload your pod and you create your invoice on the CX system, which I do after every job, straight after, before I start looking for another job, generally. Like 99 times out of 100 I'll do it unless I really have to move or something. They'll just take it from there. You don't have to post anything, you don't have to email anything, you don't have to read up their notes or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so I went in on for this job. I priced it, including the 12 miles getting there, and I think it was 292 miles on the system. I priced it at 85p a mile, all miles, like I say, loaded and unloaded. This came out at 257, and the guy rings me up shortly after and he says, "Oh, I've only really got 250 on the job." I always put in a note on small van jobs, long wheelbase van, and it should say that anyway because the van details drop down, but there's only one van on my account, so yeah. And I wasn't going to argue over £7 because it's a long drive, mostly motorway once I'm off the A22, depending on traffic. You tend to do good miles per gallon on the motorways. Yeah, so I took it at 250. It worked out about 83p a mile, all miles. But like I say, a really long job. Not the best drive up here, back down the A22, round the M25, clockwise obviously, up the M40, and then the M42, the M25 was sticky, and then the M42 going north towards the M6, there was like 50-minute delay, so I went down the other way down the M42 and then up the M5, and there was like 20-minute delay joining the M6 from the M5. But once I got going on the M6 and cleared the traffic, it was a good run up north to the northwest. And I'm just quite glad to get up to my favourite area, which is this northern belt, and in particular the northwest, so the western part of that northern belt I've previously mentioned. This is the prime area for me. This is like, I like it up here, so I think it's the best place to get a job. From my experience, and I've been doing it a little while, I'm starting to get a good feel for places. Yeah, so this job is like I say, small van job, 2 boxes that weighed like 20 kilograms each, and it had 4 brackets in them each. Up here, delivered to a company that I think it looks like they make military vehicles. You could see in the compound all these, green army all-terrain vehicles and stuff. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, and then want to get something to eat. Had a chicken omelette and chips tonight. A bit of protein as well. Yeah, and that's it now. I'm pretty knackered because I started at 6 driving. I finished at 7:30, so that's 13.5 hours. I had like an hour off between the first drop and collecting the second one, and I've pretty much been on the go. Couldn't have done what I did today in a truck. Well, I would have been able to if I was on a taco, but it would have been more into like a 15-hour day, comfortably. Yeah, anyway, so good money today, 94. The first job I dropped this morning was part of yesterday's because I tipped it at 8, even though I drove some of it this morning. That's the way I work it, think of it. So the first job for today, 94, the one down to Workfield, and then this one was 250, so that's 344. So that's a really good day. So doing pretty well money wise today. I think it's 581 for 2 days. I've just worked out where I'm at pence per mile so far since I left the house Monday. I'm on like 88.25, which is above my target, minimum target of 85, but pretty close. So plan for tomorrow, whether it'll work out, I might just try and stay within this northwest bubble. I always say this, but I rarely ever do it. And try and do some minimum charge jobs and get the pence per mile up. I did 471 miles today, so it'll be good tomorrow to get some some like 40 to 60 quid jobs, doing like up to 40 miles. So try and keep each job all miles above £1.50. I might do that, see how I get on, and then like I say Thursday tomorrow, because it's a short week, got to start thinking about getting home without doing too many dead miles on the Friday. Yeah, so that's it anyway so far up until Wednesday night. Right, Thursday night now, just after 10. Bit of a hectic day today. I actually stuck to my plan that I said, which was, stay local, try and do minimum charge jobs, get a few of them in, good few of them in, sort of earn good pence per mile, and try and sort of push that overall pence per mile for the week up, which was just kind of hovering just above my minimum of 85 pence per mile, all miles. Yes, the first job I got this morning was just after 9, maybe 9:15, and that was roofing tiles for, not so much roofing, ceiling tiles, suspended ceiling things, yeah, from just like a wholesale insulation and that kind of building materials kind of place, to a little supermarket, one of the German supermarkets that they were refurbing in Liverpool. So yeah, that one was a bit of a pain at the pickup. I had to wait for the forklift driver who had like the paperwork for my job, so he had to load me. He was loading a 7.5 ton first, and it looked like they were having a bit of fun and games of it, trying to get this funny loading. So it took like 40 odd minutes to get loaded, but then at the tip it was like a 5-10 minute job, so not too bad. And then the second job I got was with the same shipper as the first job, and that was, yeah, just from some industrial unit. It was one pallet of 40 bags, 25 kilogram bags, so a ton plus the pallet is, just over a ton, which I'm fine with, because having had the van on the JCB Weybridge last week, I now know 1100 kilograms is it really. But the problem with when it's 1 kilogram, it's weight distribution, so I had it in the back doors, got to poke it as far forward as possible, so it's like the back of the pallet is sort of probably parallel with the back wheel maybe. It's not ideal. There's a reasonable bit of height on this pallet, so it does sort of you feel it through the corners for sure, obviously strapped up. But anyway, yeah, that was a quick load. But when I got to the tip, it was to some bridge where they're doing, road bridge repairs to concrete or something. This was like specialist cement or something, these bags, spray cement or something. So the address was for like their lay down yard where all the cabins are and stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, the guy will need to follow this guy, but he's on his break at the minute, on his lunch, which is annoying because the job says get there by 1:15. I got there for 1:15, bang on, and on their lunch. So I had a little wait there, and then I had to handball it off. They didn't have like a telehandler or one of these off-road forklifts, so yeah. But there's 2 lads as well, so yeah, a bit of handball to get that off. Got it done. Parked it around the corner, and then looked at the jobs. There's plenty of jobs on there because it's obviously a bank holiday week, so it's a short week. Things are picking up, and the northwest, this area, I think for me it's the best area that I normally go to. Right, for me it's like the best that I know of in the UK. I think northwest, or the northern belt as I call it, but in particular the western part of that. And there's a job on there. First of all, it's on their long wheelbase, 1400 kilograms, and it's a shipper I regularly do work for, but the one that phoned me a fair bit. They don't seem to do that as much anymore. But anyway, yeah, so I wasn't going to do that because it's overweight. Nobody could take that in a 3.5 ton van. I know that much. Absolutely 100% confident of that. No one can do 1426 in a 3.5 ton van. It just can't be done. But anyway, yeah. And then it got posted again as two vans split load. So splitting a load, but it was done as a short wheelbase one. So I thought I won't bother with that one because it's probably not going to pay the money. And then they posted again, so still struggling. Long wheelbase, but the same thing, 1400 split between two vans. So I thought, okay, I'll bid on that. Went in at 50. Yeah, 50 I think. Yeah, and then he knocked me down to 45. It was only 18 miles loaded from Runcorn into Liverpool, but it was L1, so I was like, don't really want to go to Liverpool, L1 Central, but for some reason I bid on it. And then when I turned up at the pickup, it was alcohol, kegs of beer. So I thought, oh, this is a bit of a sneaky one really, because alcohol, you should be saying alcohol because it's a common thing, you know, alcohol jobs pay a higher rate because there's always heavy handball involved. And it's not just the handball, I've heard that some drivers won't do alcohol on religious grounds, you know, people who can't drink, and just some people just won't have anything to do with alcohol and stuff, which is fair enough. So religion at the end of the day. So really shippers should put that in a job. So I actually rang them before I left and says there is going to be handball on this job. And then they rang me up, the guy who booked me on the job eventually rang me back and says, oh, I've put someone for handball. He put an extra tenner on, didn't even discuss with anyone how much I wanted or anything. But okay, 10.55 as I was tipping it, and it was the right pain because it was L1, like I say, the street it was on, or the instruction notes that were on the paperwork from the booze place. I couldn't get down that street because it's loading between 6 AM and 10 AM only. But yeah, there was another guy on the job, bumped into him, and we worked it out, or he'd worked it out basically, and told me go to the next street that runs parallel. This pub actually backs onto that one as well. And yeah, so once we were parked outside this pub, it was easy enough. It was just getting there. And then I decided to get the hell out of town, because that's the thing when you do like an inner city drop, you can't just park up close to where you tip because it's, you know, restricted parking, it's busy. That's why I don't like going into big cities, especially London, because you just can't park up and look for your next job. You might have to spend bloody 15-20 minutes, sometimes more, to find somewhere to park up before you can even start looking for a job. Anyway, moved up towards sort of Speakway, or out of Liverpool towards the M62, parked up, and then there was another job on there with the shipper from Runcorn again, blatantly the booze place again, but this one was going to Prescott, further out in Liverpool, like out of the main city. So I went in at 55 on that, which is what I got for the previous job with the thing, and this was only 10 miles loaded. Got it. So did that one. That was kegs and some mixed stuff. Yeah, and when I did that one, I tipped that one just about 7 o'clock. And just as after I tipped it, the phone rings and says, oh yeah, just seen on the system you've just finished that drop. Do you want to do another one? And I'm like, not massively keen, to be honest, because I need to get some food for one, because I've not had any tea and I'm absolutely starving and I've been going all day. And he's like, oh yeah. I said to him, you know, because I was only 15 minutes back to the pickup, I says, you know, I could maybe be there by 8 and that would give me time to get something to eat. And he says, yeah, we're fine with that. I think they were just really struggling to get people. So back to the pickup, the booze place. This time it wasn't any kegs, it was just bottles of beer, you know, in cases, and some spirits and loads of Disaronno, Red Bull, and then some soft drinks as well. But that was back into 18 miles to L2. So it seemed to be an area full of, it was actually to a nightclub. It was in an area full of like restaurants. The nightclub, no one was there, so I ran the contact and he says, yeah, deliver it to directly opposite. There's a restaurant, or the goods in for a door for a restaurant. It's the same company, they own the nightclub as well. So yeah, I went in there and they said, yeah, we'll take it. And that was delivering to the door. First thing I've ever done, you know, when they have like these slides. So you've got the stairs where you're going down to the cellar, and it's also like the main access into the back, like the tradesman's entrance into the cellar, into the restaurant, the cooks and stuff. Like a flap down slide on hinges, and then you just put them on the slide as the guy at the bottom takes them off. So the first time I'd done that, it was something new. Yeah, so got out on tip just after 9. So that was 5 jobs. That paid 55 quid as well. So I've done 4 jobs today at 55 and 1 job at 45, which is 265 quid. But minus £12 because I've been over the Mersey Gateway 6 times today, and it's £2 a pop. So each alcohol job I went over it to get to Runcorn, got loaded, back over it to tip in sort of Liverpool area. So yeah, that's 253 quid for the day. Barely see it dark. And I've done 161 miles for the day. So 253, so that's what I earned minus the tolls, divided by 161, which is the miles for the day, is £1.57 for the day. So that's, yeah, pretty good really. So I said I was hoping for like 150. So it's been quite interesting today, doing more of a local thing. Obviously it wouldn't always work out like this because it's just been, maybe it would, I don't know, but it's been really busy today, like I say, bank holiday, busy area, and the booze jobs. Had a bit of a chat with the guy in the booze place, so I asked to use a toilet and he was showing me where it was, and I was just on the way asking him how is it getting really busy now, and he says, yeah, it's manic, and they're struggling to get drivers. And I says, what, van drivers? He goes, no, the truck drivers. He says there's a national shortage, and I think there's always been a national shortage. You always see people advertising for truck drivers. And what has happened recently is, obviously, saying on the radio, a lot of the Eastern Europeans have gone home because of COVID and just haven't come back because it's hard to come back, or decided to stay at home. So that's one reason, because there is a lot of Eastern European truck drivers, class 1 and 2, so rigids and Arctics, and also a lot of guys who are doing it, especially the Eastern Europeans, they would set themselves up as a limited sort of company, because it used to be much better for tax. The government has kind of stopped that now. They brought in something called IR35. I think it's Inland Revenue 35, some new rule to stop people doing that. It's not just, it's where if someone works predominantly for someone, they have to be now an employee, and they can't be a limited company and then just like invoice them for their services. And it's not just truck drivers, it's like anyone who does consulting or anything. So I think a lot of people who are doing it and getting paid really well because they were paying practically no tax and now having to pay tax properly in a way. So I think a lot of them have kind of thought, well, bugger it, I'll go home then. So that could be interesting for courier drivers like me, because, you know, there's going to be shortages of drivers, so, and then there'll be goods that become extremely urgent, and then they'll decide they're going to pay for dedicated man and van, just move it. So yeah, that could be promising. Yeah, so the end of yesterday I worked out, up until the end of yesterday I was on 88.25 pence a mile, all miles for the week. But with today's good day in terms of like pence per mile or pounds per mile, £1.57, that bumps the overall for the week up until now, including the 4 miles I've done out of town to park up tramp, like more towards the M62, is now 101.7 pence a mile. So today's been a real success really. And up here, because I've been working around the northwest a lot, kind of like North Wales is kind of like off to the side of the northwest bubble, and you always get more jobs locally. And I've seen maybe 5 or 6 jobs going into North Wales, which a lot of them kept getting reposted because they'll always struggle to get people to take them jobs on at like a normal or cheap rate because it's hard to get a job back. I am planning to relocate to North Wales hopefully this year, so that's quite interesting for me personally, because it means if I'm around here like end of the week I could maybe get a job into North Wales, you know, close to home in North Wales because it's a big area. And there'd be very little competition for a job like that, so yeah, that's quite a good sign as well for me. And the shipper that had done the free booze jobs this afternoon, they put one up tonight going in the morning, long wheelbase, 7 miles from me, going to Bilston, West Midlands, WV14, which is like within 5 miles from home for me. So I bid on that, all miles 87 pence a mile, got it. The only downside, it's not picking up till 11:30. So I says, yeah. I said to him, I'm only going for it now because it's getting me home, but 11:30's a bit late, really. So I said to him, if you've got anything now or get anything in the morning local to sort of this area, you know where I need to be to pick up at a certain time, give me a ring and I'll do that first. So hopefully I get an extra job in the morning, ideally through them, because then they're the shipper who have got me booked on a later job. So if anything goes wrong, I can say, well, you know, you knew I had that job and you gave me this job. It's just one of the things. Whereas if I took another job from another shipper and it went tits up, then it might be funny, you know. So that's why I don't like booking too far in advance, particularly in the same day. Anyway, so that's a 15-minute top update for one day. But anyway, quite a lot happened today and working a bit differently, and yeah, good day really. Pretty tired now, gonna get my head down. Just on some residential street, old Victorian houses there, terraced houses. Some derelict land there, and then the other side there's a retail park with an M&S, so I'm gonna get my sandwich in the morning, a gluten-free sandwich. But anyway, that's enough for today. Right, Friday afternoon now, last on the run update. So just before 4 o'clock, I'm parked outside the house. So nice to finish early. I actually finished about 3:15 today. Did that last tip, which was the job I had booked in last night, the one I mentioned. So I picked that one up at 11:30. Bit of a pain at the pickup. Pallet of plastic granules, I think it was, from some plastics place. I couldn't find the pallet initially, I don't think, so I was there 40 minutes. But then this end, tipping in Bilston, which is like 5 miles from home. So it's a really good place to finish. Last job on a Friday. Do shut up. Yeah, why don't people go knock anymore? I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, so got it on tipped. It was this end, it was like 5-minute tip, so I in the end 45 minutes loading and unloading on a job both ends, so that's fine. So that was a job I had booked in. Like I said, I was trying to get one in the morning, and ideally from the same shipper, the one I did all the alcohol jobs from yesterday, so they kind of know I'm taking a job with one lined up because it's both of them. And they didn't call me in the morning, but a job did get put on the system from Birkenhead, which is about 6 miles from, down to like the other side of Chester. Yeah, so I bid 50 on it. He phones up and says, can I do it for 40? And I says, well, I got tolls in there as well. It's going to be two tolls, even though they're like £2 each. It says, okay, agreed at 45. And then went to the pickup. Got a job at 8:15. Got to the pickup for 9, so got leisurely drive over. Get there. It's one of these joinery places, kitchen suppliers. And you just get there and you're thinking, why, you know, it's going to be a handball job, you know. It's why not? Most shippers will put a handball in, you know, and it's a full kitchen, like nearly 800 kilograms worth, including the fridge freezer, the tool bit that goes into a built-in unit, the built-in oven, the built-in grill, the hob. I think the worktops must have been thin ones because they were in boxes. Anyway, and built-up units, pre-built-up units and stuff. And I was told there'll be a fitter the other side to help unload it, but get to the delivery address, the lady who lives in the house, because it's a private address, was just leaving with a daughter, but plasterers are on site. The kitchen fitters not coming till Monday. So yeah, I had to handball all this stuff off. I think there must have been like 40 separate items, and some of them obviously quite heavy. So I took off most of the small stuff into the garage and some into the house, and then the plasterers kindly helped me with like the heavier stuff, like the built-in fridge, freezer and oven and grill and all that crap. So, and you know, they were plasterers, so, and I know enough about building to know they were skimming, you know, putting a top coat or whatever, and they can't just like stop that for 20 minutes to help me. 15-20 minutes, you know, because it's kind of time critical, that stuff. Once they start, they've got to really crack on, do it when it needs doing, because it goes off. So they helped me with the heavy stuff. So I just phoned the shipper again and say, you know, it's handball on this one. And he's like, oh, well, you should have told us before you start handballing it off. But that's always awkward, because you turn up to a shipper and as far as they're concerned, you're not a subby, you know, you're working for the courier firm. So I don't know, you just got to phone the office and talk to them about something. It just doesn't work. But anyway, got an extra tenner on it, so it's 55 for that job. But so I'm going to be really wary of that company now when I bid. What is it? And I'll just try and build in the if it's going to be a handball job, because I do a lot of builders, merchants and stuff, include it there. See, that was a day really. So yeah, not a massive earnings day, but it's got me home. So 55 and 80, 135, that done well earlier in the week. But I'll put that obviously in the summary. Right, quick summary for the week. Back in North Wales at the moment. Just thought I'd stop off for a bit of a walk. I'm driving some of this. So this is the Conwy Estuary, sort of down that way. Around the corner here is the marina. Around the corner down that way is the castle. That's like the other side. That's the Ganwy. And then down there's kind of like out to sea and the Great Orme. So yeah, nice spot here. Nice weekend. The sun's disappeared a bit, but still warm. So yeah, obviously 4 days this week, with it being a bank holiday. So Monday 2 jobs, 95 147, which was 242 for the day. Best earnings day was, so that was Tuesday, sorry. Best earnings day was Wednesday, the second working day of the week this week. 2 jobs, 94 and 250. That was a big mileage day. That was 344 for the day. Thursday was the day I tried to stay local in the northwest. Like I say, my favourite area. I think the best area in the UK for me. I actually got 5 jobs in for the day. 45 and then 4 jobs at £55. Did a lot of jobs for £55 this week. But there was £12 worth of tolls in that, so that's 6 trips across the Mersey Gateway Bridge. So I had to pay that on the Mersey Flow website. So that was 253 for the day once the tolls have come off. And then the Friday was 55 plus 80, but then there's £4 in tolls come off. Once through the Mersey Tunnel and then over the Mersey Flow Bridge again. Not Mersey Flow, Mersey Gateway. The bridge basically runs towards Liverpool. So that's 131 for the Friday, comes to 970 for the 4 days, which is £242.50 a day. But I did finish about 3:15 on the Friday, so it's a bit of an early finish as well. 975 miles for the week, so that's a nice boat. Someone's got some money. I do like going out in a boat and stuff, but yeah, there's a lot of money to have tied up, even if I could afford one. Anyway, yeah, so that's 99.5 pence a mile, all miles. Like I say, so it's three nights this week, 4-day week. I spent the first night, the Tuesday night, at home, and the rest I was in the van. Should have said that earlier. So yeah, 99.5 pence. That Thursday, trying to stay local, really boosted up my overall pence per mile, because it was lowish up until that point. And then getting a job on a Friday to Bilston, that really paid off. Hope the wind's noise not too bad now. Yeah, so a good week all in all. When it's a bank holiday week, so there's less working days, I think does make it slightly busier. Definitely picking up now. The alcohol jobs have started, which makes a big difference. And there's still COVID sample jobs on there, they're still going. I haven't done my like market research numbers thing. Did it last week, but I didn't do it this week, so I'll try and do it this coming week and say about it next week. Yeah, so that was it for the week. Any comments, as ever, any tips from me or anyone else watching, please put them below, and thanks for watching.